Well, I want to welcome now to the event John Holzermer, who is the president of Dealer AFR. John is a lifelong automotive retail professional. He has worked every position in the dealership for fixed operations, including the last 20 years as service director. John, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
How are you, sir?
Hey, fantastic. Great to see you. Great event so far. And by the way, John, I have enjoyed the last couple of months, our conversations that you and I have had, learning more about you. And you're the real deal. You're in dealership right now, and you've got an amazing background. And for our audience, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is John Holzermer?
Well, John Holzermer, I'm a real fixed ops guy. I've been in the car business 49 years. Started out as a lot attendant at a nice age of 17. Became a lube technician at 18, spent 6 months on the lube department, and then became believe it or not, an apprentice for one of the best Cadillac techs in the state. From that point, I became a partner with him at the age of 20, a certified master Cadillac technician at the age of 24. Became a shop foreman at the age of 27. Became a RV service manager. It was my first management position, age 31. Then I became at age 34, the head of the whole dealership's fixed operations, body shop, 11 lines of motorhome, Isuzu, Oldsmobile, Cadillac, Buick GMC, Honda. From that point was a service manager for about 12 years, then moved to a service director. Only been with 4 companies in my 49 years. So I'm a real car guy. I know every aspect of it, from a technician to an RV service director to the fixed ops, and still presently doing it. So yeah, I've spent years doing it.
John, that is very impressive. And I am hearing so much about people who I've told that you are speaking about Dealer AFR. Tell us a little bit about that and what kind of an impact the dealership can see from Dealer AFR.
Well, what Dealer AFR does really is we get in there and we dissect the common operation codes. What most people don't realize is how much money is left on the table from simple operation codes that never, ever, ever get updated, leaving thousands of dollars on the table. And what we do is we go in and actually build all your common operation codes, okay, for accuracy. And then once you build your common operation codes, then it's simple for everybody in the dealership, because we have a quick reference sheet for every part of the dealership, from right down to a service advisor, to a manager that has to build the op codes, to a technician that wants to recommend stuff. So from a technician wanting to recommend stuff, if they've got easy pricing, they just look at their cheat sheet, say, here's what the car needs, here's how much it's going to be. And from the technician's point, it tells them 2 things: how much to sell it for, and how many hours am I going to get paid. From a service advisor's quick reference point, all they care about is what's the op code and what's it sell for. From a manager's position, they want to know what to set the labor at for the op code, what to set the flat rate hours are, what to set the estimated parts. It's just what we do is a turnkey for building common operation codes. And what most people don't realize is these common operation codes get used in so many different capacities of a dealership, they don't even think about it. It drives their CRMs, it drives their DMSs, it drives their websites. It's the core foundation of a fixed operations.
Everything is based on that. And you know what? I think when you speak from experience, we've got to keep it simple. And there's nothing more important than that accurate op code. Now, why Dealer AFR? What makes your company different, John?
Well, what we do is we go in, when you go into a dealership, most dealerships will have thousands of op codes. And what happens is those thousands of op codes never get updated. What we do differently is we print their dealer-defined op code. We find out what's been used in the last 90 days. And then we delete the rest of them, and we update the ones that they currently have so they get used. Okay, and that's what we do different than any other company out there. Everybody thinks they know how to do this, but we're really good at it. And what makes us so different is the bulk oil pricing we do, and I have a very unique way of parts price averaging for all your common stuff. And what most people don't realize, I'll give you an example. Okay. In a Chevy store, a domestic store, probably 30 different oil filter part numbers. The cost all within about $2 to $3 of that. How do you price an op code if they're all over the board? You can't. Same with air filters, cabin filters, wiper blades. So what we do is we have a very unique way with what I call my weighted average. So I look at what you sell the most of, price it accordingly, and the parts department picks up additional gross without having to overcharge the service department. So that's kind of what we do different. And then we get rid of all the crap.
And John, those common op codes that you're just mentioning are so important. You told us a little bit about how you do that. We just had BG Products on the show just a little while ago, and I know you work with chemical companies. How about those chemical companies and their menus?
Well, in the old days, the chemicals companies weren't as important as they are today. Today, technology's changed so much in the industry with these direct injected engines that there's a huge need for these chemical companies, especially with sludge and low tension piston rings, carbon buildup on the valves. There's a need for these, and I kind of call it like brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth every day, but if you don't on a car at 70,000 miles, you're consuming oil. In the old days, if you consumed a quart of oil in 3,000 miles, that was a lot. Now, 1,000 miles, you're consuming a quart of oil, and it's all because of carbon buildup. Okay, so there is a huge need for those chemical companies, and there's a service needed for that.
Okay.
So I'm pro chemical company, and I'm an OEM guy that never used to think that way.
I love it. Okay, now while we're on that topic, chemical companies and the op codes, a lot of dealerships come to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. A lot of service directors called me up. They email me. They say, Ted, we don't have a menu. We don't have a proper menu. We don't have something that we can present the menu. Are you able to help with Dealer AFR in presenting that menu?
In our base program, we build all your common op codes, but the things that we do first is, in the old days, there was packages for everything. A 15K, a 30K, a 45K was the same for every make, every model. Not the same anymore. So what we do is we help the dealerships design packages, okay? And we're very good at it. So with every car that comes across a dealership service drive, we have a design package, and we call it bundle and save. Okay, it's easy to sell something when you bundle and save because everybody's looking for something of savings. So that's kind of what we do. We build packages first, fix all your a la carte stuff, and the other thing is there's so many additional services that the car needs now that never get built. So we build op codes that the car needs. Depending on your manufacturer, we'll build those op codes. Like I said, I've got 49 years of experience. I know just about what every car needs. So that's kind of what we do, build the op codes for that manufacturer to make sure they have the right op codes. And then we train your technicians how to sell them.
John, you are so different because this is real world, right? And I mean, you are, as I mentioned earlier, the real deal. And I would imagine that dealerships, managers, dealers, general managers really appreciate you when you come into a store. Talk to us, how can Dealer AFR help grow those fixed operations quickly and efficiently in a store?
Well, the first thing we do is once we build everything and we got the whole dealership trained, so we have the whole dealership on the same page. So every service provider's quoting the same exact price for the same exact service. The technicians are quoting the exact price. The technicians know exactly what they're going to get paid, because that's the big thing. Technicians care about what's in it for me. So what we do when we build it, we have full transparency. Here's what you're going to get paid. So what we try to do, at least double or triple what the technician's going to make. Because if they can't make money on it, they're not selling it. So that's how we kind of build our menus and educate the technicians on, here's what it's going to pay, here's how long it's going to take you, and now they'll start recommending it. Can't sell something a technician doesn't recommend. So in our training style, so like Antonio, you've already met. Antonio's my service advisor trainer. He teaches the service writers how to sell packages. Bundle and save is what we do. That's our model, bundle and save.
And John, the fact that you address the technicians is another big differentiator. That you talk to us a little bit about that, because a lot of training platforms leave the technician out, and that's one of the most important ingredients, if not the most important.
It is the most important part, because most customers don't want to be high pressured on the service drive anymore. Right. And if you go to the doctor, you see the receptionist, you see the nurse, you see the doctor, correct? In our thing, you see the greeter, you see the service advisor, but the credibility really comes from the technician. So we have a unique technician recommendation sheet. So we build a recommendation sheet that says, here's what the car needs at each mileage interval to bring full transparency to every technician recommending the same service at the same mileage interval for what the car needs. So that's why we start with the technicians. Garbage in, garbage out. If they don't recommend it, got nothing to sell. And that's truly how you're going to grow your business. Do the light soft sell on the service drive. You know, in the old days, we popped hoods, we looked at belts, we looked at hoses. Nowadays, you can't see anything. So you have to depend on the credibility coming from these technicians. So that's kind of why we focus on the technicians. Okay, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't recommend something, you got nothing to sell.
And John, I would imagine no matter how good my dealership is, I can benefit from having you come in and look at those op codes that are no longer being used and creating the common op codes. And that would help grow my fixed operations, not just now, but long term as well.
Yes, there isn't a dealership that we're in that we haven't significantly increased their gross profits. Just instantly, within a week, they'll see the impact. Because what happens is when you look at my unique parts pricing, okay, that's different. All by itself, the parts department is going to go from, most of them like to average 35 to 40%. I've got dealerships averaging 55, 60% without having to change the price to the service department. And that's what most service managers care about. Okay, they don't want to give up their effective rate and their gross either. So it's a win-win for both departments. And then when you increase the volume of what you can sell, everybody wins. So there isn't a dealership that I can't significantly increase.
Everybody
wins.
I can't imagine that there's not going to be a fixed ops director not calling you, okay, to pick your brain, because you didn't just invent this yesterday. You've done this over a long period of time, and you know what works in store.
Well, funny you say that, because I started in 1993 building these menus.
Wow.
And I used to be the master. I had a menu for everything. I had 200 op codes, every make, every model. And you know what? I'm back to keeping it simple, stupid. Okay. And that's what I've done. I've gone back to flat pricing, air filters, wiper blades, cabin filters, all the combos. You do brake pads. You can do anything you want on a weighted average. Okay. Once you do that, I no longer need to have 15 different op codes. I only need to have one, especially when you look at oil. You go in for an oil change, most of the dealerships, the disclaimer says up to 5 quarts. Okay. Most cars nowadays take 7 to 8 quarts. 5, 6, 7, 8 quarts. With my program, it doesn't matter anymore. Okay. It's the same sale price, whether it takes 5 quarts, 6 quarts, 7 quarts, 8 quarts. So now I can be an exact price for a guy coming in for oil change. I don't have to say it's going to be $59.95 up to 5 quart, and then charge you another $30 extra for the 3 extra quarts. I don't have to do any of that with my program. I don't have to have 5 different op codes. I only have to have one. Makes it very simple. And then when the service writer is booking the ticket, he doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't have to override anything. The labor's set, the hours are set, the parts are billed at the thing. We even give the parts a quick reference sheet so they know exactly what goes in each op code, what the cost is, what the weighted cost is for that service, and how much gross profit they're going to make on that individual op code. There's nothing you can't find out with our program about an op code. What your effective labor rate's going to be, what your average tech cost is going to be, what your labor gross profit's going to be, parts gross profit. There's nothing you won't know when you build these op codes.
And you know what? I can tell that you know within a few minutes of going into a dealership. You can know who's who and what's what because you've got the experience behind you. And I love the idea of that KISS method, keeping it Sesame Street. Last question for you, John. How about used vehicle reconditioning? How does this impact that?
Well, you know, the funny thing about used conditioning, you know, especially with the market, with the cars the way it is, okay, the problem with reconditioning is you're all over the board. You know, with the mechanical part, I have a unique program for used car reconditioning so they can afford to keep the cars. So when you wholesale a car, you feed one mouth, okay? When you retail a car, you feed the whole dealership. So we have a program that allows you to fix the cars, keep the price to the sales department, other than the stuff that when they appraise the car, they know it needs, other than body work, other than tires. The mechanical, we can set a predetermined price, and I can show the dealerships how we can have the reconditioning for every car identical. So when they appraise a car, I know the reconditioning for this car is going to be $1,200 plus any body work or tire, something that I can see. Makes it really nice to be able to fix cars and keep them.
All right, John, I'm sold. All right. So if our audience, our dealers, our general managers our service directors want to reach out to you personally, John, and find out more about what you can do to help them in their store make their life and their job a whole lot easier, how do we get a hold of you, John?
Just call me at 951-458-0058, or you can email me at john@dealerafr.com. Is the easy way to reach out to me. I leave a voicemail. I call back really quickly. But that's our whole program, is we're here to help the inexperienced, because what most people don't realize, the people like me, they're getting out of the business right now. There's not many of us left. So our whole program is not to tell you how to run your dealership, but we train your manager how to run the dealership. We provide them with the tools to build all this. We're not going to tell them what to do. We're just going to guide them through our program.
And my managers need those tools. John, thank you so much. John Holzermer from Dealer AFR here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you.